Hello and welcome to Who Watches Who, your very regular, always on time Doctor Who podcast. I am Matthew, and as always, I am joined with.
Yes, hello, it's Scott, and hey, we wouldn't be a Doctor Who podcast if we weren't late, like the Doctor is in his TARDIS. You know, he's never on time.
Exactly.
He was
Exactly.
he was like
This show never comes out anyway. You know, it's. But we are this week continuing our look through the finale of Series 3. We did Utopia in the last episode, and we are looking at The Sound of Drums in this episode. And next week will be the last of the Time Lords. Just as we go through, we're doing a series finale, sort of retrospective sort of thing. So we looked at what was it, Torchwood?
Yeah.
Series 1 finale of Torchwood. And we're on to this, and then what do we got? And then we've got other things coming up as well that are all finale based.
well said, yes.
Which is going to be fun to go through. But I don't have too much other things to add on to the start of this episode. You got anything you want to say, Scott, before we jump in?
No, just about the director of this episode is Colin Teague. He's a man who worked on several episodes of Torchwood and Sarah Jane. They were so impressed with his work that we decided, hey, let's give him a main shot on the main show. And I think he's a fucking good director. This is a well-directed episode. This is really well-directed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
that's
think
it.
so. It's fun. Also, give him a shot on the finale. All right. It's a big step up because this is one of the episodes that would get higher ratings compared to the rest of the series. Because you get the peak at the start, and then it dips, and then the peak at the end again. Imagine watching a TV show like that. Can you imagine? Like you watch one episode, you're like, I'll come back for the end. I don't want to watch any of the stuff in the middle.
With Doctor Who, you could do that, though, which is a good thing about Doctor Who, you know?
Yeah, it's a fun show. But other than that, we're just going to jump straight into The Sound of Drums and do a little bit of a breakdown and talk about the scenes that are held within this glorious episode. And we open up not where you would expect with the ending of Utopia, which of course saw the Master steal the Doctor's TARDIS and the Doctor, Captain Jack and Martha be trapped at the end of the world with all those weird vampire teeth guys coming after them. Instead, they appear in an alleyway in London that says "Vote Saxon" everywhere through the Vortex manipulator. And then we get a flashback from that scene to them then escaping, where they're like, God, that was a good escape, wasn't it? And then we come back to them being in London. It's an interesting editing choice.
Yes, it is.
Because
it is such a weird structure to this opening.
Yeah. Because you could structure it where we open in Utopia, then they use the Vortex manipulator and they get back into London, and we get all the same information presented within the same amount of time.
Yeah. But I guess you would have to, if you did open up on Utopia, you would have to reestablish the threat they're trying to run away from. And that means you would have to hire these actors again for technically another episode, which would be more money, so... I don't know.
Like, literally just use the scene they use in the flashback.
Yeah.
That's the opening scene. Teleport away. And that's even still, because I feel like this opening it hooks you in, because you're like, oh, what's happening? How did we get here? But I feel like the opening of, oh my God, they're about to die, is also a good opening. I think either or works. It's just a really interesting editing choice to open on that and explain away the cliffhanger in about 5 seconds flat, which is very classic Doctor Who.
But I do like how, the Saxon posters are everywhere as they have been throughout Series 3 and some Torchwood episodes. But they're even more so here. It's like the Master is always watching them wherever they go, because there's Vote Saxon posters absolutely everywhere. So it feels like a spy espionage kind of thing here, where we're constantly being watched at every moment.
Yeah, they've also completely dropped any subtleness to the Vote Saxon thing. Like we get close-up shots of the posters of people wearing it, and even when they're sitting down in that little pavilion place and they're like, God, who could the Master be? Like Martha figures out he's Saxon within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
We are... I think it's 2 minutes into the episode, and we already that's not the mystery of this we know he's the Master's the Prime Minister.
Yeah, to be fair,
which is fun that they would
To be fair, the cogs were already turning in Martha's head at the end of the last
Yeah.
episode when she heard John Sims' voice.
I recognize that voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also. It's interesting that they would spend so long like subtly putting, quote unquote subtly, vote Saxon everywhere throughout series 3, just for the reveal to be over in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And not the twist actually. But it still works. It's still, I think, a bloody good time. And oh my god, could you imagine if the Prime Minister was evil and people didn't like him? Could you imagine if that was a reality that we had to face?
Yeah, we are
a bad Prime Minister. Oh
yeah,
my god.
for context, we are recording this during really weird, turbulent times for. Well, I guess it's always weird, turbulent times for Keir
It's always
Starmer.
turbulent times. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
but
for any Prime Minister.
by the
last
time-
fucking since 2016.
But by the time this episode comes out, the current Prime Minister is
Yeah.
Keir Starmer.
West Streeting.
Oh, well, weak. But yeah, the Doctor is saying he'll recognize the Master immediately when he sees him, which is a carryover from the War Games, where the Doctor recognizes the War Chief, who is also the Master, I guess, because it's been a fan theory for a million years that the War Chief was the Master.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the colorization of the War Games, we had the very loud Saxon music played over his introduction, which made it more obvious that maybe he is the Master. Let's just give up
Maybe
any
he is.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I hate that.
It's fine. It's fine. It's whatever. But they see that Saxon is the Master on the big TVs that are obviously all over the lampposts in London. I don't really know what that. Like, why is it not just a billboard or something?
Yeah.
Like, what are these TVs that are? What the fuck is that? But they're standing watching, and everybody stops to watch the prime ministerial address, because obviously they're all the reasoning is everyone's brainwashed to love Saxon, so they would stop to hear his words. Otherwise, if it was a regular day, people would just continue on with their lives as one would. And he is very coy, and he's like, "Oh, the country's sick. This country's ill. This country needs medicine. This country needs a doctor." And then we run into the intro, which it's a fun line.
Which must be a very confusing kind of speech because we find out that only 98 or 99% of the population has been brainwashed from the Master. So it must be very confusing for those 1 or 2% of the population who's like, he keeps mentioning doctors, but there's no mention of anything about the NHS in his manifesto. There's nothing.
Oh no, I imagine it drives them insane. Like as any reasonably brained person, when you have a politician who's just saying weird populist shit without ever committing to a manifesto pledge or anything like that, or a policy that makes coherent sense. You're like, what? How could anybody believe this? And then they go and they win thousands of seats in local council elections, and you're like, what the fuck is happening? Who is? Or they vote them for president twice? It's like, what the? Who is this? It's what feels like they're just brainwashed. We're just that 2%.
Yes.
That aren't in that fucking cult,
Thank God real life isn't like this.
Oh my.
But yeah, to go further on that, there's a point later on where the journalist lady goes into Saxon's office and is like, there's no background to Harold Saxon. It's completely all made up. He only appeared on like the maps 18 months ago. There's no existence of Saxon before this point, and this is very much what's happening in real life because of local elections. Just on Reddit today, I saw a message saying, my local council we just elected a Reform member, but I went on to Google. There's no evidence of this person kind of existing. There's no evidence of what they stand for. There's nothing about their family or upbringing. It turns out the fifth result of this Reform politician, is that Reddit post asking if there's anything,
Amazing. Who is he?
any information about. Fifth result is a Reddit post asking for information. That's how it's insane.
Yeah. There was a story from a few years ago I don't remember if it was Reform, but it probably was, where they won an election, but their candidate was dead. Like it was a dead person who was running in that place. So it was like they elected a dead person to run. It's like absolute insanity.
It is. It's kind of scary how well the politics of this episode holds up. You know, it's not even the main focus of the episode, but yet there is so much in this episode that feels like it's happening right now. It's scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is maybe some of the best Doctor Who political writing that Russell T Davies, maybe the best political writing that Russell T Davies has managed to do. Like, it's campy and it's over the top, but there's underlying resemblance where you're like, oh, I get the point that you're saying, and this is something that has, you know, survived and been relevant for 20 years now. You know, this is 2007 that this episode comes out, and it still feels like it's talking about today's politics in 2026. Whereas if you look at, like, New Who now, and you look at the politics presented in that, it doesn't really feel like it's saying anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, suddenly this prime minister is running only on the thing of, I want to nuke. I want nukes. Yeah. That's the only political subtext going on, really.
Got to nuke somebody.
It's fucking
Nelson.
But there is a lot in this episode that feels like it's like a predecessor to Torchwood, Children of Earth, and also his follow-up series, Years and Years, which came out in 2019, which is also very political.
Years and Years is very good.
I still need to watch that.
Good. Yeah, it goes in really interesting places that you would not expect it to. Each episode had a fun twist to it. And obviously, because I don't know if you know that, like, every episode's set years after the previous one, so you get to really follow these characters through huge changes. And it's quite good. It was quite good. I really enjoyed it. Easy binge.
But also
but
in
this
this
episode...
also in this opening, we find out that the Master has a wife, which shocks the Doctor.
Yes.
This is obviously the Master's trying to replicate the Doctor. This is a blonde companion. I wonder if it's a Rose subtext, even though the Master obviously doesn't know about Rose, but
yeah,
it's interesting that she's blonde.
Yeah, but this time the Master's got no qualms about banging them.
Yeah,
you know, he's like, yeah, you're my wife. You're not just my, like, friend.
There was also a lot of debate about whether or not the Master should have a beard. I'm not sure about. I kind of like John Sims with a beard. I think his look in the Series 10 final really works more. It's kind of weird to see him without a beard now, because I'm so used to watching Series 10. Series 10 final holds up. I just rewatched it recently. It's bloody amazing.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the best Doctor Who's.
It's a really, really good one. We've covered that on the show, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
I believe so. Yeah. But yeah, no, he looks good with the beard. He looks fine with that one as well. But I get that. Having the goatee, maybe they just thought it was a bit too classic Who.
Yeah.
To get, like, you're reintroducing the Master. Do you want to reintroduce it with that, like, old-timey trope of evil guy with goatee? But at the same time, it's kind of iconic.
It is.
You know, that the Master has it, and he does eventually get it back. And Sacha Dhawan, he never had a goatee, but he had, like, a beard.
Yeah,
he had a beard.
When he was Rasputin, he had a beard. That's the only. I think that's the only
but,
point.
like, before that, I feel like was he never, like, stubbly?
I think he was clean. Spy Master. Let's look him up.
He was clean shaven for
Spy
was
Master.
he always clean shaven? I don't know.
I'm looking for Spy Master, but it just pops up as a series. Spy Master, Doctor Who Spy Master. Yeah, he kind of has stubble. When he's more insane, you know, and when he's giving that speech, he is kind of stubbly. He is kind of stubbly.
That's how I remember him.
Yeah. Okay.
And that worked well for him. But again, a goatee on him, I think, would have looked amazing. Yeah. I think he could have pulled off a goatee really, really well. Especially because he's like a very cartoonish, sort of over-the-top Master interpretation.
I'm still unsure about. I like Sacha Dhawan a lot, but I'm still unsure about his characterization, mainly because he's mainly a exposition machine. Like, he doesn't.
He is, yeah.
He doesn't feel like the Master properly.
I think it also like it suffers from the reduction in depth that we had with the Master. Like his character feels like a regression because he's just that cartoony "I'm evil, ha ha ha," versus the like shades of gray we had with Missy.
Yep.
Yeah, like before, and so there's always that conflict of like, okay, like you could be the Master, but like Missy had so many layers to the character that made them compelling, and this is just mustache twirling. I hate you, Doctor, and I'm gonna kill everybody because I'm evil. Which, yeah, that was that. But anyway, that was the issue with that one.
Yeah.
The episode Sound of Drums continues with the opening of Cabinet, the Prime Minister's Cabinet, and they have a meeting, which this is a fun scene. There's a lot of gifs in this scene from the Master himself. You got your smiling and frowning, you got your thumbs up gif, etc. Very fun scene. I like the performances in this one where he's like, you guys are all traitors who left your party and joined my one when you saw I was winning in the polls. Again, who could see that happening in real life? No way. Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, this is Russell T Davies on the ball about I'm not sure what politics were like in 2007. I was obviously 9 years old. I'm not that into like history. I'm not delving into 2007 politics, but but it's obviously something that's going to happen year after year. You know, it's
oh, of course,
it's a fucking trick with politics.
Nothing is new. Nothing is new. Everything gets repeated. Yeah.
We also have a reintroduction to Tish Jones here, who's also played by Gugu Mbatha Raw, who also played Salt in The War Between the Land and the Sea. She gets nothing to do here, so
yes.
It's a huge shame. She is a really good actress, and she has nothing to do.
Yeah, it's I'm glad she was brought back for War Between the Land and the Sea, because that's like Salt, as kind of weird and inconsistent as a character they were. Her performance through a ton of makeup as well reads really well. She's a very, very strong character actor. It was great, very good stuff in a mixed bag of a show. But the Master kills everybody in his cabinet pretty quickly with some gas. We get some light comedy as well. There's these constant. You described it when we were watching it. The Master's like the Joker, which he very much is, because like every single murder scene he is in, or attempted murder, has got that tilt off comedy to it, you know, which it works for the most part.
Yeah, the idea of a Joker gassing his entire cabinet feels like something the Joker would do more than the Master, who feels more. I think the Master classically feels more reserved. He's more. I don't know. I don't know how to describe him. He feels less insane in the classic series, which is weird that this Master is just so insane. I don't like the Master when he's just over the top cartoon villain like this, where it is shades of down to earth kind of Master in this episode that works a lot better in my opinion, like the phone call scene later on. But
yes.
I think the Master being too insane kind of loses the essence of the Master to me.
Hang on, I'm doing a quick Google. Okay. So The Dark Knight came out in 2008. I was just wondering if maybe Russell T Davies had seen like the Joker and was like, oh my god, I have a brilliant idea. But this actually preludes The Dark Knight, so I don't know, maybe he was watching some Batman the Animated Series or something.
There is a lot of superhero stuff in this episode, like the whole Valiant, the whole flying thing in the sky. It kind of reminds me of the MCU's SHIELD helicarrier that was in the Avengers, which I kind of like this more than the Avengers one. I don't know. It's interesting.
They're basically the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Master kills everybody. We get a fun shot of dead guy on the table. Again, the camera work in the set, there's some really nice shots. They use the camera really, really well. in this episode, and the Master is tapping. Da 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 da. Of course, also earlier when Martha saw it was talking about him, subconsciously she starts tapping as well, as do like other people around. Something the Doctor catches pretty quickly, and it's something that has lived in my brain since 2007.
Same here. Do you know what the inspiration for the tapping is? Bit of a trivia question for you.
Inspiration.
What is the
for
inspiration?
The tapping? I know it's the Time Lord's heartbeat, but I don't know what
Nope.
the inspiration for the creation of the tapping is.
Well, it's not even it's not even Time Lord's heartbeat. That's not something that Russell T Davies considered. It is Russell T Davies's alarm clock. That's a beat the alarm clock made, which is really interesting. Why there's drums, I will get into later, because that is. I don't know what Russell T Davies is smoking. It's a very interesting thing I'll get to later, but let's carry on.
Interesting. So we are then back in Martha's fun little apartment that she has.
It's a lot of Dutch angles here.
yeah, there is, because things are crazy. They're crazy right now. They're trying to get a hold of people. They're trying to figure out what's going on. And I believe this is the scene where Martha's like, I was going to vote for him. Because he's just so damn charismatic.
Yeah, we cut to that later on after the journalist.
Yeah. This scene doesn't do too much then. We'll talk about the journalist scene.
But
that's an interesting
but there
one.
is a voicemail from Tish in this scene, which Martha immediately turns off because she's like that's important. You know, Tish is just talking about her new job working for the Prime Minister.
Yeah. Just this crazy job. Holy shit. Sorry, I just paused it on that laptop screen that the journalist has. What a computer. I love fake UI and stuff. 801 in the timestamp. It's pretty fantastic. Settings, personal work, photos, music, movies, waste, browser. HaroldSaxon.co.uk. It's awesome.
The Harold Saxon website, which we'll get to later on because that's in Martha's flat. It was a real website at the time. This was when TV shows did a lot of these tie-in websites. I think How I Met Your Mother was the most famous for websites like these. Like, that was amazing days. It felt like
the How I Met Your Mother ones.
Yeah, the internet felt so much bigger back then. Now it's just like the same, I don't know, 4 websites. That's all there is to the internet now.
Facebook, YouTube,
Twitter, Reddit,
Netflix, Twitter, Reddit, all these giant ones. No like random weird niche websites.
No,
you know, it's all just been giant corporation globbled up. But this journalist lady, she pushes her way past Tish, and she's like very demanding. She wants to talk to Harold Saxon's wife, the Master's wife. And, you know, she convinces her, she plays into her ego. She's like, you know, who's the lady behind the man? You know, the one that's clever and smart, the first lady of the United Kingdom, which it just as a phrase is kind of gross. It's like weird Americanisms invading British politics, but
this episode
you get, I guess, with populism.
This episode is really interesting in terms of how it deals with American politics, because obviously in the universe where alien invasions happen in Britain every fucking week, America would become less of a superpower.
Yeah. And they try to stick their nose in it.
Yeah.
They try to be like, we're the guys that deal with aliens. Which is very funny. But she gets Tish out of the office, and then immediately her demeanor changes. Before she was quite brass, or like bombastic and like domineering, and then she becomes very quiet and worried. Like, hey, do you know who your husband is? Because there's no evidence that Harold Saxon even exists, but there's lots of evidence that you exist. So I just want to make sure that you know that this is happening and that life is okay and stuff.
Which again is real life now. So bizarre.
Yeah, it is insane. We also briefly cut back to the Doctor to watch some Harold Saxon footage. Yeah, which has also aged amazingly. You got Sharon Osbourne saying she's vote for Saxon.
He can
Sharon
tick.
Osbourne just recently spoke out for Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, and if any international viewers are listening, Tommy Robinson is basically our version of Charlie Kirk, I would say, roughly around those.
Oh, he's way more. I think he's way more extreme than Charlie Kirk. Honestly,
in terms of
he's
views,
like proper
yes.
Nazi.
Yeah.
We
have McFly, who was a very big boy band at this time, and there's no major controversies with these guys, so they're the only outliers in terms of Saxon voters.
McFly is an interesting one. They stopped being a band for years to just go and become parents, and they recently reunited, I believe.
They also
40-year-old men.
They also teamed up to form a super group with another boy band, Busted, and they became Mick Busted for a while as well. I think the most major controversy McFly has is their awful cover of "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen. Awful. I remember getting into arguments in primary school about that because kids in my school were like, "That's a song written by McFly," and I am a huge Queen fan, so I was like, I was trying to convince these kids that Queen wrote that song. And I was overpowered, it was like 1 against 4 at that point. And there's no phones, so I couldn't prove it at the time.
Yeah.
So it was really difficult.
That really stuck with you as well.
And of course, our final celebrity cameo is Anne Widdecombe, who was a Tory member at the time. She's now in Reform. Surprised, honestly. But to list her controversies, she's pro-life, she's opposed to assisted dying, she's homophobic, she's transphobic, she's pro-death penalty, and she doesn't believe in climate change. So, all around, terrible person.
Pro-death penalty, but
bizarre.
Pro-life and anti-assisted dying. There's no through line. There's no logic there.
No.
There's no logic there at all. Yeah. I believe everybody should live and nobody should die. Except those guys, they should die. And then we get the scene with the journalist lady where she is scared and worried, and we think for maybe half a second that Harold Saxon's wife's what's her name?
Lucy.
What's her name?
Lucy.
Is going to be like, oh my god, you save me from this terrible man. But instead she's like, what do you think, master, who's been behind me this whole time? Because the master slipped in the room, I guess, when no one's looking, even though he's like directly in the eye line off the journalist lady. Weird blocking there, I think. They should kind of maybe be sitting in the opposite seats.
Yeah.
So that he can come in without her seeing. But hey, it works, whatever. It works, and then they kill her. He introduces the weird giant balls, which is is it Toglophane?
Toclophane.
Yeah. The Toclophane. Yeah. I remember the Toclophane design being pretty scary when I was 7 years old watching this. I was like, oh my god, they're terrifying. Little balls with like knives in them. And they really showcase... Like, it's cartoony now watching it as an adult. Like, the lady screams and the master's like opening and closing the door, like
yes.
But like as a kid, it's like, oh my god, like the way these things kill you must just be like hell,
Yeah, because spiky things come out of their bodies. It kind of reminds me of Star Wars, kind of. Isn't there spiky?
Sure, yeah.
Isn't there balls with spiky things in Star Wars?
I'm sure there's ball things in Star Wars. They kind of look like in A New Hope when Luke's on them like trying to learn how to block stuff with the lightsaber. They look like the training droids that fire the lasers.
But yeah, the Toclophane was rattling around Russell T Davis's brain for quite a while. When the episode Dalek from 2005 was being written, they weren't sure if they could get the rights to the Daleks from the Terry Nation estate. So Russell T Davis was like, okay, let's write a draft. He went to Robert Shearman and he said, let's write a draft script and include the Toclophane. Let's include these balls because just in case the Dalek rights doesn't work out. And then obviously the Dalek rights did work out. He also considered using them in the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit for a while, which is interesting.
Okay.
The
I
original...
wonder how that. Maybe they would replace the Ood in that
Maybe.
as like helper bots. Yeah.
But the original name for these guys were the Rocklafane. But Russell T Davies considered it was too similar to Rachnos, and so he changed it to Toclafane, which coincidentally apparently translates to Fool the Fan. Fool the Fan. Which we were fooled because the reveal next week is interesting.
Yeah, it's maybe the darkest twist in Doctor Who. It's grim as fuck.
It is
Grim as fuck reveal.
There's some great camera work here and special effects work where we have a low angle shot of the Master on his left, and the camera kind of orbits around the Master to be a direct face on shot. And the Toclafane are like kind of all floating around behind him, and the tracking of the Toclafane in this scene is really well done. This is them kind of showing off, and it makes them feel more realistic because it's not the most realistic CGI. You can see they're not really in the room. It's dated a bit, but
it's dated a bit.
But that's shot of just them moving the camera and the Toclafane moving with the camera in a realistic way makes them feel more real, which is a really good shot.
I agree. It looks really cool. And then there's also the Sam Raimi scream push in as well when she's getting killed, which is some fun cheesiness. And there's, again, the camera work is really good. There's a lot of movement.
Yeah.
You do a lot of pushes in constantly in various different shots.
Yeah, because that shot of the dead cabinet member lying on the table with his arm outstretched and his mouth open, and the shot of the woman screaming and the camera coming up, that feels very classic Who also. That feels like what they did a lot in classic Who, because we just did the opening of the Dalek Master Plan where we have a dead body who's shot in a very similar way as well, which makes it feel more morbid than any other kids show.
That's something I'm trying. So the Big Finish competition has started for writing a Doctor Who short story. So take a look at that if you want to do it. I'm currently working on one. Whether or not I finish in time, we'll see. But I was like, when I was thinking of, I was like, how do I want to open this story? It's classic Who. I have to open it with a random person being killed. That's, that's like almost not related to the plot in any way whatsoever. So that's what I'm trying to do in that is I would have that feel of like, oh yeah, we open with that. Oh no, someone's been murdered. Then cut to the TARDIS and they're like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then I'm planning on trying to follow a very classic structure for Classic Who. So like they're going to get separated, they get captured, they have to escape the capture. Like it's every episode of Classic Who you've ever seen.
Do you have William Hartnell's Doctor saying a lot?
Oh yeah. Oh, I do. I worry I've made him a caricature of himself.
But yeah,
how I've written him.
Outside the door, Lucy Saxon is kind of freaking out, and she's like, "You said the entire planet wouldn't know of your identity. You said the Archangel is working." This is when the Master says, "It's work 99% working," you know, which makes sense. This is a good inclusion because obviously it would be people who wouldn't work against. The idea of the Master doing mass hypnosis works for me because obviously this is a trait the Master has had in the classic series. It's making it like on a broader scale works for me. I'm glad it works.
I think it works really well. I think it also works really well as again commentary on politics.
Yeah,
you know, like the master can hypnotize everybody. But of course he's going to become a politician. You know, he can make people think like it just works. It goes it's hand in glove. You know, like the idea forms itself naturally. Which is good stuff. We cut to Martha in her flat, and this is the scene I was talking about earlier where she's chatting with the Doctor and they're trying to figure out like what exactly is the Master's plan. And the Doctor's like, what sort of like policies does he believe in? Because Martha's like, I was going to vote for him. Captain Jack was like, I was going to vote for him as well. Which I'm amazed Captain Jack is
Yeah.
registered to vote.
Well, yeah, registered to vote,
but-
and also that the hypnotism works on Captain Jack. Like he falls
Yeah,
for it. That's
yeah.
interesting.
Well, maybe he just genuinely likes him. You know, he didn't need to be hypnotized. He just agreed with his policies, of which he has almost none because he's like, what policies does he have? Martha's like, I don't know. He just sounds good when he talks, which is about the level of
Yeah, this is
discussion you can have
fucking
with a
this
reform
is
voter.
fucking Donald Trump who ran on the policy.
Yeah.
You know, when he was asked about, I think it was healthcare. He was asked about healthcare
Mm-hmm.
in the run up to the election, and he was like, "I have concepts of a plan." That's a
Have
Donald
concepts
Trump
of a plan.
quote.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
no actual idea or plans. You're voting. It's a popularity contest. It's not about policy. It's about do people like you.
It's
awesome.
scary. It's scary.
But
But yeah, speaking
the,
of Donald Trump, we just had a scene where the Master's history is being put into question. So what does he do as a distraction? He decides to reveal the existence of aliens on national television, which is what fucking Donald Trump just fucking did. He just released UFO files or whatever, and I don't think anybody really fell for that. I don't hear much buzz about the.
I don't
UFO
think there was
files.
much of a reveal in the UFO files about aliens. I don't know. Like he didn't confirm aliens exist and they've been here. Like that's gonna be that's what you need
Yeah.
to reveal to distract. You know, it needs to be like I've met aliens. He's called Steve. He's right here. You know.
But I guess there is a lot of distraction from the whole Epstein stuff because I haven't heard of anything about that in a while. He decided to launch
Yeah.
a new war to distract from the Epstein stuff, which is still great.
It's ridiculous.
What a great war.
It'll come back round. It'll come back around. It's like the one thing that doesn't seem to go away. You know, hopefully. Anyway.
Which a lot of this
Um,
episode is, because obviously this is kind of a follow-up to the Slovene two-parter, which was all about the Iraq War. It's interesting how history keeps repeating itself.
Yeah. Things don't change. They just continue. So the Master gives a speech on the telly, where this is where he introduces the Toclafane, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the Doctor's like immediately like, what the fuck, the Toclafane? No way, because like those things don't exist. They are fairy tales, Time Lord fairy tales.
God,
It would be as if you were to introduce the boogeyman.
Could you
as he
imagine
says.
if Russell T Davis were to lean into the whole idea of fairy tales, mythical creatures that were like gods and heroes?
Bogeyman. Imagine if they did a creature that was the bogeyman was real and he was made of bogies on a ship full of babies, and then they do a big fart. That's some high quality. That's a good idea.
It is interesting watching these this final two episodes because there is a lot of Russell T Davis stuff, which he does again in future episodes in his new era, which are done a lot worse.
Does it again, but worse. Yeah.
Yeah. We're kind of fucked, aren't we?
It's just tired of ideas. But the Master drops a hint. Again, why does he drop a hint that he could kill the Doctor and Martha right now?
He
But he's like, trainee doctors are gonna blow up.
He doesn't want the Doctor to die. That's the thing about the Master, because before Roger Delgado died, there were plans for the final Master story to be a story in which Roger Delgado dies, saving the Doctor from a bomb that he set off initially. But he's like, it's going to kill the Doctor, so I have to defend the Doctor. I have to be there in front of the bomb to save the Doctor. So that's how the Master was originally supposed to die in the original series. So the Master never wants to kill the Doctor. It's more of like a game of cat and mouse to the Master
He's like
than anything else.
a dog chasing a car.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a really cartoonish dynamite bomb behind
Yep.
the TV, which is hilarious.
Speaking of the Joker, from
Yeah.
Batman.
Oh
You
my
almost
God,
you
straight
you
up.
almost expect the Doctor to be running around with a bomb above his head. Some days you can't get rid of a bomb.
Literally. But yeah, it's absolutely, it's so cartoony. It's very very funny that's what they went with for the bomb. It's so good. Also, when they blow up Martha's flat, none of their neighbors are home. Nobody comes out to be like,
No.
what the fuck? There was just an explode. Nobody gives a shit. It's a very quiet street.
No, it's also
they're
the same
not
thing.
nosy.
It's also the same thing when Dan's house gets shrunk. Nobody notices.
Shrunk, yeah. Yeah. I think his
Nobody-
neighbors notice, but then they just turn it into a joke or something.
He still has no house at the end of his series. At
Yeah.
least,
Yeah,
at
I
least
know, it's
time
so
gets
funny.
reversed Superman style at the end of this story. So Martha still has her flat, but
Yeah. No, Dan's just homeless. Which is so funny.
which is funny because
Um,
our introduction to Dan was him working in a homeless shelter, wasn't it? I never put that
It's called foreshadowing. It's called foreshadowing, Scott.
Dan.
I think it's a food bank. But yeah, Martha gets a phone from her parents. I really enjoyed this scene here where the Doctor's like, don't tell them anything, and Martha just shouts at him. She's like, I will do what I want. Imagine if there was conflict between
I
the
know,
Doctor and his
right?
companions. Oh my god, it'd be compelling. And she's on the phone with her mum. Her mum's like, hey, your dad and I are back together. You should come around and have cake and celebrate with us. And she's like, what are you talking about? That doesn't sound like you. Put Dad on. Dad goes on the phone, and then she's like, is somebody there? He's like, yes, run. Very dramatic shit. Then he gets like arrested immediately.
Yeah. He gets arrested and he says, this is what you voted for, as he's being put into the back of a van, which is
Yeah, so he's not
yeah.
brainwashed.
Could you imagine watching people of color being put into being arrested and imprisoned, kidnapped essentially in real
Yeah.
life after a politician is in
No way.
power? That's never going to happen.
There's
That's-
no way. Yeah. It's just in the land of fiction. But Martha goes, she gets in the car and they drive to go save her parents against the Doctor. He's like, don't do that. That's so dumb. But I guess emotion trumps reason. She gets there and they just immediately open fire
Yeah.
on them, which I thought was very, very fun as well. Again, super dramatic, a lot of action, heavy stuff happening. There's a really fun, a couple GoPro cameras, which means they were genuinely in a car, shooting this in a car driving, because the GoPro camera is really shit quality and the color grade is basically black and
Yeah.
white compared to the rest of the shots. It's so funny.
Yeah, this is actually Freema driving for quite a lot of it. Obviously, there is stunt doubles in certain shots, obviously, but the fact that
Yeah.
Freema is driving around is pretty impressive. It's not shot on a green screen. Also, it is a shame. I feel bad for the Martha parents because I really like these two actors, and they don't get Martha's entire family don't get to do much in the series.
Yeah. Martha doesn't get to do too much
True,
in the series.
it's
you know?
a shame.
Yeah.
But at least
She's, I think, the most slept on companion.
At
from
least,
Tennant's era. She gets some good stuff for sure.
yeah.
But
Yeah, at least she has a family, unlike Belinda, whose dad is completely absent, even though we shot scenes with the dad.
and they mention him in every episode.
Yeah. As if he's important, but
Yeah.
he never shows up. It's great.
Yeah, but Belinda's a mum now, so that's all that matters to her.
She's a mum to the Doctor's child. Yeah, that's great.
The Doctor's daughter, yeah,
'Cause-
who then
'cause-
goes on
to become
to
Susan.
have Susan.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really cool. Well,
It
at
all
least
makes sense.
I fucking hate it.
I believe we're caught up.
But yeah, this was originally going to be a bigger car chase where Martha would start driving through gardens to escape from the police. But obviously, budget constraints meant that we only had
Yeah.
so much to shoot. And Jack comes up with a suggestion that we need to pull over and just start laying low, which makes sense. Even though the car
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
easily findable, because we don't drive for very long. We drive like 2 minutes away.
Yeah, but they wouldn't expect them to pull over 2 minutes away. They'd expect them to keep driving,
Yeah.
so they wouldn't even bother to look. It's a genius plan.
Oh, and also
Genius plan.
Tish gets kidnapped in 10 Downing Street here as well.
Yes. Yeah, her whole family gets arrested. nobody is safe. Our episode continues with the gang hiding out underneath a bridge at some overpass bit and some British countryside. Honestly, it even looks like Dundee. It looks so like generic.
Yeah.
Estate, you know.
Yeah, I
like
presume
it's
this
copy and
is.
pasted.
I presume this is just somewhere in Cardiff, right? This is.
Yeah, it must be just some local like village nearby.
But yeah, Martha is on the phone to her brother Leo, who is played by Reggie Yates, who isn't in this episode much apart from this scene because Reggie Yates at this time was becoming a big BBC Radio 1 DJ. He got a different job, so. And even if he was in this episode, he wouldn't have much to do because none of her family members do much. They have like maybe 2 lines in this episode each.
Yeah, there's a lot going on though. You know, a large chunk of this episode is focused on the Master.
Yeah.
You know, he's got so many scenes where it's just him doing Master stuff.
Like even Martha and Captain Jack take a backseat in this episode. It's just all focused on the Doctor and the Master, which is what it should be. But I do feel we lose a lot of why is Captain Jack here if he's not going to do anything in these 2 episodes? Because in the next episode, he's just mostly chained up. Like, it feels bizarre to bring John Barrowman back and not have him do much compared to...
I feel like they brought him back for the Vortex Manipulator.
Yeah.
To get them back from the end of the world, you know? But other than that one purpose, yeah, he's served his purpose like immediately in this episode.
Yeah.
And then doesn't really have much else to do. But, you know, it's a fun cameo appearance, guest character slot, you know?
Yeah, it was still really fucking exciting to see John Barrowman back in the day. And also he comes back in the next series final as well. It's nice when Doctor Who used to have recurring characters who came back and you were excited about them rather than why is she back? Why is Rose Noble back? And she's just standing in the background on her iPad again.
Yeah. Your iPad kid, Rose Noble. Yeah, no, I agree, but she's on the phone with her brother, who also doesn't seem to be affected by the Saxon curse either. You know, he's kind of he's like, can you believe Saxon one? And we're just kind of hanging out here and whatever. And she's like, cool, like just keep doing whatever you're doing. And then the Master joins in on the call, and he's like, hey, Martha, what's up? I'm going to kill you. Ha, ha, ha. Because I guess he can just hack into anybody's phone. Oh, they're all on his network. That is explained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say the same thing. But yeah, this is a great shot revealing the Master is listening because we get a shot of the Master's table in his office, which has his reflection on it. And it's a great upside-down shot. And then as the Master slowly starts slipping into this is the first time the Master has been the Master, because he's under the disguise of obviously Harold Saxon throughout this episode until this point, until this conversation with the Doctor. And when he has the conversation with the Doctor, it's not a reflection anymore. It is his actual face, and that's the real Master being shown, which is interesting. It's a really good shot.
It is really good. Also, just complete side point. I've only ever thought of Saxon as Harold Saxon. You know, like that's the Master, Harold Saxon. The description of this episode is Harry Saxon. It's given him a nickname. Harry Saxon, also known as the Master, becomes Prime Minister, but his dark ambitions reach beyond the stars. All right, Harry Saxon.
Do you know a complete coincidence, but Mr. Saxon spells out Master number 6, as in NO6, which is an interesting. Which is a complete coincidence, but he is the 6th Actor to play the Master. Yeah, that is fascinating. Yeah. Same with the Fob Watch spelling out Face Above. That is also a coincidence. A lot of coincidences.
Or the stars in Super Mario Galaxy spelling out "You are Mr. Gay." Also a coincidence.
Classic.
But the doctor and the doctor takes the phone off Martha, and then we get a very good call between the master and the doctor. This is their first proper conversation that they've had up to this point as the master and as the doctor.
When the master is having the conversation as Harold Saxon with Martha, he has Martha on loudspeaker, but when the doctor picks up the phone, there's a moment where like the camera pans up to his face, the master's face, and he picks up the phone and he puts it on the normal setting, whatever you fucking call that. The normal setting of the phone.
Not speaker.
Not speaker.
He takes it off speaker.
But yeah, there's a moment where like the music hits a crescendo point where the music just keeps building up, building up, building up, building up, and then it stops as the master puts off his speaker, and he answers the phone. This is now personal between the master and the doctor. Nobody else is supposed to hear it, and we don't cut back to Martha and Captain Jack again for another 3 minutes. So it's just the doctor and the master, which is a really fucking great scene. This, again, they're not even in the same room, but yet we feel like they are in the same room. Like, this is two separate performances shot on 2 separate days and 2 separate locations, and they feel like they're bouncing off of each other really fucking well. Compare that to Ncuti Gatwa against Anita Dobson and the other actress who played Durrani in the season 2 final. They don't feel like they're in the same room.
No,
there's no chemistry there. It's just really bizarre. This is really well done here.
Yeah, it's very well done. And the conversation they have is pretty enlightening as well, where the doctor's like, hey, let's just leave Earth. We could run around the galaxy fighting like each other, but like, let's just leave the Earth people alone. And the master's like, nah, because of the drums, you know, the sound of the drums, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. It's always in my head. It always has been in my head. And I am completely insane because of it. And he also says that he's got rid of Torchwood. He sent them off to the Himalayas. He's made the Doctor, Martha, and Captain Jack the most wanted people in Britain. They broadcast their face all over the news. He's watching them on the security cameras. Basically, his way of saying, like, gotcha, I win. You know, like, I know where you are. I can track you. There's no hope in saving you. You've got one choice, and that is to run. Run. You know, and he starts yelling run down the phone. It's a very, very good scene. I like this conversation.
They also talk about the destruction of Gallifrey and the fact that the Master was resurrected by the Time Lords to become a perfect warrior, but the Master ran away, erased his identity with the Fob Watch because he was just scared, which is like a moment of vulnerability for the Master, unless he's doing it just lying as a show. You don't know. This is the Master. I like this characterization of the Master. He's not just insane. He has a deeper consciousness. He is a realistic person in this scene. This feels real. And also what I like about this scene that makes it feel like we're actually in the same room connecting to each other is the Doctor's on the left side of the screen looking right. The Master's on the right side of the screen looking left. It's almost as if they're facing each other. Again, just great, decent cinematography here. And when the Doctor mentions the destruction of Gallifrey and the destruction of the Dalek race, the Doctor sits down and turns away from the Master. So the Doctor is now facing away from the Master, as if he's ashamed of his actions. Which just the cinematography builds so much. You could watch the scene without any volume, and you can get the gist of what's going on in this scene. It's really well fucking shot.
It is very well shot. It's also interesting that the Master was resurrected. I think the Master, out of almost any character in Doctor Who, has got the most like fucked life-death cycle out of any person, because they die constantly. They get turned into a weird skeleton guy. They then get turned into a weird snake guy with the movie, and then they get resurrected into the War Doctor even, then turned into a human, turned into this Master, dead again, resurrected again, turned into a weird skeleton man. A weird skeleton man with superpowers, dead again?
Yeah.
Comes back somehow as Missy. And
Dies
then
again.
turns into Sasha Dewan, then dies again. Yeah, gets fully murdered. Then comes back as Sasha Dewan, and then gets turned into a tooth, who then gets taken by somebody.
You also forgot the time he spent the time on the cheetah planet and started slowly turning into a cheetah man.
Yeah, started becoming into a cheetah. Yeah.
He also got burned to death in the classic series.
Yeah, what an absolute nightmare. The Master. No wonder they're fucking insane, you know?
But what I don't like is that they reference that the Master's always been insane. I think it would be better, because in the classic series, if you watch the classic series, it doesn't really hold up that the Master's always been insane. I think it would be better if Russell T Davies included the line that when he got resurrected, something went wrong with resurrection that caused him to go insane, that caused him to hear the drums. I think that's more palatable as a reason why he hears the drums, because at this point it's just a retcon for the sake of a retcon. Well, if you include that when I got resurrected, I started hearing the drums, that's more of a reason why the Master is now totally insane. It's more palatable.
I think a large part of why the Master doesn't necessarily feel insane in Classic Who is you meet a bunch of other Time Lords in Classic Who, and they all suck.
Yeah,
they're all they're all dickheads. Like the Master, the Doctor's the weird one out of that group. You know, like the Master almost fits in with the Time Lords. He's maybe a bit more in the I want to conquer the world side, whereas they're a bit more like let's not do a single thing ever type perspective. But they have that like BBC Britishness to them, you know, where they're all kind of uptight. But yeah, I don't mind the drum retcon as much as you do, but it's fun. It's fun, campy, goofy.
Also, some great shots include the Master standing up like proud and tall in this conversation, but the Doctor is sitting on a bench and he kind of keeps lowering himself in his conversation with the Master, because there's one point where he's sitting on the bench and he's kind of like crouching to the ground when he's like basically begging the Master, please leave this planet alone, which is really interesting shots of composition, because the Doctor's looking so small, the Master's looking so tall. The Master has the power over this situation. And when the Master is talking about how the Doctor destroyed Gallifrey, destroyed the Daleks, he says, how did it feel? 2 almighty civilizations burning. You must have felt like a god. And he goes up to like a globe in his office and he starts spinning the globe. Again, a great little shot there. This is a shot. This is really good. Compare that to like
really good.
Compare that to like the scene in the season 2 final where it's a bunch of people in a room and it's just reverse shot, mid close-ups. There's no, you can't tell what's going on if you have it muted. Whereas here, you can.
Most of the characters are just standing still in that room. Well, yeah.
Whereas here, the camera's all constantly moving. There's different shots in Saxon's office. There's different shots of the Doctor sitting down with the Saxon posters behind him, almost as if he's being watched again. It's just really well shot here. Good shit.
It is.
Good shit.
So the Doctor that they go on the run, we get a brief cameo from the news lady, American news lady. She shows up
Trinity
a bunch of times
Wells
and stuff. Yes, which is fun. It's fun that she's there. Easy, you know, because they're talking about the UFOs showing up and how the president is gonna come because they want answers from the announcement that Saxon's gonna make. And meanwhile, Saxon's watching the Teletubbies.
Yep.
He's like, I love the Teletubbies. They've got tellies in their tummy, which is just fun. Again, plays into that kind of the Master's insane. Doesn't really care about what's going on. Is watching children's TV,
which is obviously a callback to the Sea Devils, where he's watching the Clangers, another CBeebies show. The Master just loves CBeebies. Don't blame him.
He's got good taste. He's got good taste. Educational programming and fun. The Toclafane show up again, and it's like everything sucks and it's terrible and horrible. And the Master's like, yeah, whatever, bro.
We forgot to mention that the Toclafane speaks in an almost childlike voice, which I'm sure doesn't mean anything. I'm sure
that won't come back to anything. No way. Yeah. And then we cut to an episode of War Between the Land and the Sea.
Yeah.
In this big empty warehouse. That they definitely, this is a reused. Like, this is the same warehouse, 100%.
Yes.
This is the same
It has
warehouse.
to be, right?
There can't be that many warehouses that all look the exact fucking same that Doctor Who uses. But in this one, it's the Doctor, Captain Jack, and Martha sitting around as they basically, what they do in this episode is just kind of sit around talking. But it's compelling, it's interesting, and here we get up to this point in the show's history of Modern Who, the most information about Time Lords and Gallifrey and what they're like and what the planet looks like and what the Time Lords look like. Like, there's some huge reveals here that are, they still hold up. It feels epic. The one of the things that Modern Who did really well in getting rid of the Time Lords is it almost turns them into like martyrs or like myths, you know, so that when they do get brought up, they feel grandiose and epic. And obviously it's through like that rose filter that the Doctor has off his own people.
Rose Tyler or Rose Noble?
Rose Noble, yeah. Where he chooses to remember the good parts of them and not remember that most of them are just really boring bureaucrats. You know, and so whenever we hear about them, they're grand and epic and awesome. And then whenever we actually meet a Time Lord, they're usually evil or insane.
Yes. But God, this might be Murray Gold's best score here, because he makes Gallifrey's, because this is the track called "This Is Gallifrey," and you've ever seen BBC Proms do Doctor Who, you've seen the full version, and it's probably the best part of like Doctor Who at the Proms, because it is such a majestic piece of music. It feels grand, it feels episodic, it feels epic, it feels old-timey, it feels alien, it feels like the strings is such a good fucking track. It feels emotional, it's so good. I fucking love this track so much.
Yeah, it's a good track, and I would say that one of the interesting things here is the Doctor is, I don't know how he has this information on the Master, if he's just theorizing or if this was just well known up to this point, but he has this information that the Time Lords have this portal or this hole in the universe that looks directly into the vortex, and as like an initiation to become a Time Lord, you go and you look into the hole and you see basically all of existence. It's a very existential type cosmic horror type thing where you're looking in to all of time and space whirling around, and what that does to your psyche as a Time Lord can inspire you to want to create, to harness, can terrify you at the mere like horror of what existence actually is and what it means if time travel is there, you know, like it's the implications of that are existential. They're absolutely terrifying, or it drives you completely mad, and it drove the Master completely mad, and they were like, which one are you, Doctor? And he's like, oh, I ran away, I'm the one that runs away every time, which a great little bit of character stuff there as well, with the Doctor being the one who ran away.
I'm just still not on board with the whole "this is why the Master's insane." We don't need to know why a villain becomes a villain. It's just they're evil. We don't need to know anything. This is sort of like the midi-chlorians of this season of Doctor Who, kind of, where it's like it kind of takes away from some of the mystique of Time Lords, of the Master's characterization. Why is the Master the way he is? Oh, because he looked in a fucking hole. Okay. Do we need to know the ins and outs of every single character and why they're doing the things they're doing, you know, and what made them the way they are up to this point? As a child, why do you care too much? But I've always kind of liked it. I liked it as a kid, and it's always kind of stuck with me, this reveal, because it was so awesome, and it's presented really, really well in this episode itself, you know. Gallifrey looks fucking beautiful here. This is what Classic Who was always trying to sell Gallifrey as, but whenever we went to Gallifrey in the classic series, it was just a fucking quarry. But here
Yeah.
it's bright orange. You can see the city in the dome. There's a great shot of like a Time Lord in his outfit with a big collar standing in front of a citadel. It looks fucking amazing. This is what Susan Foreman is talking about in The Sensorites, where she says it's quite like Earth, but at night the sky is a bright orange and the trees on the leaves on the trees are a bright silver. This is what Classic Who was envisioning when they talked about Gallifrey, but we never had the budget or the CGI to do anything like this. This is beautiful.
Yeah, it is stunning. I've always really loved the weird snow globe cities
Yeah.
that Gallifrey has as well. And they're such a weird design.
Like how
absolutely stunning stuff.
how do you get in and out of a city? I don't.
No
is
idea.
there like a door at the bottom?
Also, like as a city, it looks really small. Like it
Yeah.
mostly looks like one building.
But yeah, the contrasts between the reds and the blues, or the oranges and the blues in this scene, between the nighttime stuff in the warehouse and the fire and the Gallifrey being bright orange, is really well shot. It is very beautiful to look at.
It is indeed.
And also, Child
this is
Master
also
has a terrible haircut. It's just a bowl cut.
awful. Yeah, but it's Time Lord fashion. They like big collars and shit hair. It feels appropriate for the species. This is also where they find a recording from that lady that was the journalist, because she sent it to Torchwood. Also, this is where the Doctor finds out that Torchwood is still a thing and that the Captain Jack was involved with it, and like that they're still not kind of good. They're not as bad as they were because they are villains in series 2.
Yeah.
And they're not villains anymore, but they just like banging and shouting at each other.
This is very much a child looking for approval from like their dad or something, because because Captain Jack is trying so hard to sell. No, Torchwood is good now, and the Doctor is just furious at him.
Yeah, he's like, I did it for you. But they discover that the Master's got control of all the telephone networks, because he's got his own network that everybody's on. This makes the Doctor inspired to create a perception filter that will allow them to sneak in using whatever the fuck shenanigans,
This is also what Russell T Davies wrote as a storyline in The Giggle, where the toy maker has control of every phone in the country, and every phone plays The Giggle. Here, it's the Master has control. Yeah, he hypnotizes the entire population with The Giggle and causes them to go insane. Whereas here, it's the Master doing it with the 4 beats, which this feels more realistic. This feels more earned.
Yeah, it is also, it's the exact same idea. Like even the giggle itself, ha 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 ha. Like that pattern is not too far off. I
can't believe we have an episode just called The Giggle. That might be the worst title of a Doctor Who episode.
No, Space Babies is Space Babies.
Space Babies, the Battle of
Rancor Avkolos. Yeah. That's the worst title, the Battle of Rancor Avkolos.
But I don't know, the giggle is pretty bad. It feels like a CBeebies show. Because, the Doctor Who's about to do a CBeebies spin-off. It feels like a title that would fit on this CBeebies spin-off, The Giggle.
I hope the CBeebies spin-off is full of horror. What's even happening with the CBeebies? Like, who's the Doctor? Is the Doctor going to be in that? I guess not.
Yeah, we don't know, but I can't remember what company. We don't know what's going on. It's going to be, I imagine it's going to be like a secret incarnation. It's going to be like separate from the main series.
Yeah.
I wonder if
they
it's going to be like
K9 as the host.
Yeah. I wonder if the
Little
Wish
robot
Baby is going to appear. The Wish Baby.
Fucking hell.
We should do some episodes in that. Some commentaries.
If it's good. Yeah, if it's good. But anyway, this is where the Doctor starts tinkering away, and I always enjoy it when the Doctor does science and does invention-y stuff, which is fun. Stuff that we said before, like we wish they leaned into with Jodie's characterization of the Doctor a lot more. But it's fun here. The example that they give of how the key works is quite interesting. because they center frame the Doctor. Then he puts on the perception filter, and the camera just kind of tilts off to the side, like so. And which I think works kind of well. But I also feel like if they moved the focus just a little bit,
Yeah.
so like he becomes slightly blurry, where it's like, oh, okay, because like when it moves to the side, I'm like, okay, but like you're still like very much in the center of frame, like I can still see you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like you're saying that I don't want to focus on you, so maybe you should adjust the focus a little bit. But it gets the point across. It's fine.
Yeah, this is where the Doctor explains it as you're not invisible, you're just unnoticed. It's like when you fancy someone and they don't know you exist. And the Martha looks longingly at the Doctor, and she's like, "Notice me,
Yeah.
Doctor." And Captain Jack looks
Yeah.
at Martha, and he's like, "You too, huh?" Which I fucking hate. I fucking hate it.
Yeah, it's the curse of the David Tennant era of Doctor Who, is everybody wants to bang the Doctor.
Yeah.
You know,
Even those
which we
old
didn't have
ladies.
that
Remember in David Tennant's final episode where the old lady squeezes his bottom? That was really
he's
good.
a handsome lad. He's a handsome lad. So they basically follow. How do they even get to this airport? Like, where I guess they just know where it is,
Yeah.
where Air Force One is landing, and they can walk in because the perception filters. Do they just drive there? I guess. Does the perception filter work on a car?
I don't
They
know.
get there really fast as well.
They just walk.
It doesn't matter.
They walk.
Yeah, they just walk
worry
to the
about it.
airfield that's next door. Because the president has landed, and he's saying that he's taking over the meeting with the aliens because he's the U.S. and they're the guys in charge now because of UNIT or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
the fuck. There's a bunch of political shenanigans, and the Master just kind of lets it happen.
Yeah,
'cause it's kind of part of his plan, kind of not. You know.
The Master keeps doing bits here where the president talks about some files, but were like the first contact files founded in
The Epstein
1968.
files. Yeah.
And the Master's like, "Oh, it's a new office. Stuff gets lost between the couch sofas. I did find a penny, etc." And then the president tells him to shut up. The Master zips his mouth closed. The Master is just doing genie bits from Aladdin here.
Again, very Joker.
Yeah.
Very Joker-esque behavior, you know. But it all plays off how it is. We see that the Doctor and his gang are standing to the back, and they're just kind of observing everything happening. Then when the president leaves, almost immediately Martha's family shows up. There's one shot where the Master looks over at the Doctor and that.
Yep.
You think for a second they're made, but then he gets distracted by the family. I like to think that he 100% saw them and was
He
like,
does.
okay, cool,
He
this is going to be fun. You know?
Because he has the same kind of shot on the Valiant, which is the big spaceship. Not spaceship, but like the sky office, whatever you want to fucking call it. But they go on to. He has kind of a similar reaction when they're standing in the background in the Valiant. He does see them, but he's pretending not to. Which I feel like the Doctor would know, but he definitely saw him in that moment.
Yeah, I feel like the Doctor's being a really really idiotic.
And also,
in this episode.
I don't think it would work on Time Lords in the same way because obviously they're used to being around TARDISes.
Maybe,
TARDIs.
I don't think you can use that word. Maybe like the Doctor's idea is he's not trying to trick the Master, but he wants to trick all the humans around him so that he can get close to the Master, you know, and then, you know, ... profit. Who knows what the plan is after that? But yeah, as I said, the Doctor's plan in this episode is so vague that when they get captured and it all goes wrong, I'm like, well, what were you even trying to do? What were you like? You didn't want to kill him, you know? So like, what was the goal here?
Yeah, some of the writing in this episode is a little bit vague. It is a little bit flawed, but the episode does move at such a pace. You just forget about it. You're hooked into the moment. You're not really thinking about what's going on, which is like the illusion of what television should be. You're not supposed to look too deeply into Doctor Who. It's a very silly show. And I think this works overall. We're just obviously nitpicking because we're doing this show. We're looking at every moment.
Sure, yeah.
We're dissecting it.
works
You're not
fine.
supposed to dissect it in this way.
So the episode continues with everybody getting on board the Masters of unit, not unit, a shield,
Shield,
big
yeah.
ship thing. Yeah.
This is kind of Russell T Davis not stealing from the MCU for a change. This is him before the MCU. This is 5 years before the Avengers, which is the movie with the Shield helicarrier. But obviously nowadays it's like, yeah, let's just make Unit Tower look like Stark Tower
Look like
or the Avengers
exactly
Tower.
like the Avengers Tower. Yeah. Except we've got a big gun on it. That's
Yeah.
also terrible.
Fuck me, the
but
big
yeah,
gun.
they get onto the thing, and everyone's preparing for the Toclafane showing up. The Master takes his seat. He's all excited, and the Doctor, who's they're in like the bowels of the ship. It's just kind of it's classic bowels of anything. There's just lots of grates and metal machinery around them, and big pipes and tubes everywhere.
And purple lighting, which is the bowels of any ship. Neon purple lighting.
You put the good lights upstairs where people can see it, and then the cool lights downstairs. But the Doctor hears something. He's like, "Don't you hear that?" They go running, and oh my God, it's the TARDIS. Isn't that fucking lucky that they found the TARDIS on here? What a convenience there. They go running inside it, but it's not the TARDIS that we know and love. It's evil and red. And turned into what he calls a paradox machine.
Yeah, it's being...
And then they don't explain what that is.
It's being cannibalized. It's now a paradox machine. Maybe I haven't seen The Last of the Time Lords in about 6 years now, 6.5 years. So I have no idea how it gets resolved. I can't remember.
I assume the paradox machine plays a big part in this.
I presume,
resolved.
yeah. But yes, it's a load of nonsense. Don't worry about it. But the Doctor, Martha starts asking, "What's a paradox machine?" And the Doctor just refuses to answer.
Because there's bigger stuff going on. But it was interesting seeing the red part of the TARDIS. The TARDIS being red, I should say, because it reminded me of speaking of Sacha Dhawan, his era. Do you remember? I believe it's the Power of the Doctor, or no, it's not the Power of the Doctor, but maybe it is the Power of the Doctor. Before the Doctor, yeah, it is before the Doctor. Before the Master turns into the Doctor, when he shoots her on that planet, because he has his own TARDIS that they like go into really briefly, and it's all like red and stuff, and I'm like, God, I'm fucking explore this. What the fuck? The Master has his own TARDIS now, and it's all like red and evil inside, and they like never talk about it or never go into it again, because then the Master turns himself into the Doctor or whatever. Like it's been a long time since I watched Power of the Doctor. I'm excited to watch it again because it's a lot of fun.
I don't even remember that scene, but the Master's always had a TARDIS. It was seen in Logopolis in Tom Baker's final story, which we should cover because I think that's the deepest we ever go into the TARDIS. There's a lot of interesting stuff.
What about Journey to the Center of the TARDIS? Matt Smith episode.
That classic episode.
Like
we should also
or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Not the best episode.
Yeah, but yeah, I like the idea of exploring around other TARDISes. TARDISi, Tardies, what did you call them?
Tardis. Tardies. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, the bulk of the rest of the episode is spent up in the like conference space of this area where the president is giving a speech on behalf of humanity to welcome the Toclafane and, expand new horizons, while the Master sits there all smug. And the Toclafane show up. They're like, "Where's the Master?" And really kinkily, the president's like, "I could be your master if you I'm a master if you want me to be." And they're like, "No, you're not the Master. The fuck are you?" And then the Master gets up and he's like, "It's me. It's been me all along. I'm the villain. What a surprise." And he kills the president and he kills a bunch of people. And then we cut to a bunch of reactions of people going, it's like screaming and shouting and watching it live on TV.
We also have a baby reaction with baby food
just
all
goop
over
on
its
face.
face.
yeah,
But yeah, I do like all the extras. This is a lot of extras for the show, and obviously we're not the best, but it is nice that we still remember. Yeah, we need to see what humans are reacting to this because this is international television. This is a big fucking deal.
Yeah. This is also the Master reveals that he knew that the Doctor and that were there the whole time, gets them arrested, whips out his sonic laser as well, which is a fun invention. I don't mind the sonic laser. I really like its design. Like, it looks chunky and, like, menacing.
So on the day they shot some of these scenes, Russell T Davies was in his car getting driven to work, and he got a text from David Tennant saying, "The Master's screwdriver is bigger than mine." Which, of course, there's always a penis joke when there's another fucking screwdriver, as we see in
Matt Smith's one. Yeah, in the 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
Matt Smith's one is chunky, though. It does look kind of similar to the laser screwdriver.
Yeah.
Just in the design that they both share. Although, also, the laser screwdriver kind of looks like Obi-Wan's lightsaber. It's got that same sort of, like, ball neck.
I see.
Kind of shape to it. It's fun. I gotta collect some sonic screwdrivers because they're so cool. I used to have I had a David Tennant screwdriver as a kid. I think that's the only one that I ever had. I never had the Matt Smith one or the laser screwdriver or anything like that.
The only screwdriver I've ever had is one that was in the shape of it was a Wii remote, but it was in the shape of a sonic screwdriver. It didn't really.
That's pretty awesome.
From what I remember, it didn't really work well. So,
but it's cool.
But it was still cool.
That's
yeah,
a thing.
Yeah.
I
think it was. It would have been a Matt Smith in the model of Matt Smith because I think it was roughly around 2010, 11ish.
Yeah.
Good shit.
That's cool. Then the Master reminds us of the episode we all loved, the Lazarus project.
Yeah.
With the Lazarus experiment. Sorry, with what's his name? Oh my God.
Mark Gatiss.
Doctor Who man. Yes, Mark Gatiss, who shows up. He's maybe the most recurring actor playing different characters in Modern Who. / writer as well.
He's also
he never became showrunner.
He's also the Brigadier's granddad. Remember in the Twice Upon a Time when it's revealed that the soldier man is the Brigadier's ridiculous.
Don't worry about it. But it's basically reverse engineering that, turning an old person young, turning a young person, if you can call that, David, the Doctor, old, and he zaps the Doctor with it, and he goes, ah, and starts waving his hands around like a cartoon man, and it's all sped up footage.
This is a special effect inspired by the movie Jacob's Ladder, which I've never seen, but there's a scene where I think it's a scene where the main character is being wheeled into a hospital, and there's these weird ghouls around the guy, and we're all going, rawr, shaking our head back and forth. I guess the effect is also reused when the Master becomes everyone on Earth with her head spinning around.
Yeah.
It's a similar effect. But I almost did it myself. I almost got vertigo from doing it.
The old man makeup that they have on Tennant, it's not terrible. It is a little bit cartoonish, you know.
Yeah, it's not terrible, but he does. It looks,
you know.
Yeah, I think they did a better job of his old man makeup in the end of Human Nature. And this is the era
he's got
where
weird eyebrows in that one though. Like they give him really weird eyebrows if you remember.
This is, of course, the era where they're obsessed with old man makeup for some reason, because in season 2 of Torchwood, Martha Jones does a trio of episodes, and she she becomes old as well, and she has old lady makeup, which is interesting.
It's just the most fun thing to do. I've been watching through the MCU recently, and we just watched, God, which one was it in? Was it in Civil War or was it Winter Soldier? I think it was Civil War. No, sorry, it wasn't even that. It was Ant-Man. In Ant-Man, it really made me laugh because it was just kind of the ridiculousness of it. So you had the old guy playing Hank Pym, whose name I don't remember. 2 other older actors who all had to have
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas. He had to have like de-age CGI on them because it was a
Yeah.
flashback scene. But then they also had Peggy Carter in that scene, who was played by a younger actress, but she had to be an older character for that scene, so she's got old lady makeup on. And I'm like, this is so much fun. There's the old people playing young people, the young people playing old people.
Old man Chris Evans at the end of Endgame was pretty decent.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. Yeah. That's
Yeah. I can't wait
too
for
far
them
off what
to
David Tennant looked
undo. I'm so excited for them to undo the deaths of Steve Rogers and also the death
man.
of Tony Stark by
You ever-
bringing back.
You ever read a
Can't
comic
wait.
before? You
I
ever
know,
read a
but
comic?
it's-
Death means fucking nothing in
know.
comic books.
I know, but
It-
I was hoping there'd be more fucking stakes in
Yeah.
the movies where whatever.
Nah, it's problems, you know. But anyway, so the Master's plan is in full effect here. He kills Captain Jack. Should mention that as well. He just shoots him dead, and he's like, "And I get to do it again!" Ha 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 ha. Then he starts playing the Sound of Drums, the Voodoo Child.
Yes,
is the song name.
So this is apparently the main inspiration for the Master's insanity and hearing the drums.
Mm.
Believe it or I don't know why Russell T Davies made this connection, but this is why the Master hears the drums, because Russell T Davies really liked this song and wanted to include it in the episode.
Maybe it
And-
was literally just the sound of drums, the sound of, like that opening bit. He's like, "That's such a good character idea," you know, the
It's-
sound of drums.
It is a banger song. I do love this song.
It's a
It's
fun
of course, it of course samples "Pump It Up" by Elvis Costello, which is a song about masturbation, I guess, if you look closely into the lyrics. But so he asked the guy who was supposed to, the guy who gets the rights to these musics. He asked very early on in the script process, "Hey, can you get the rights to the song?" The guy got the rights to the song, and Russell T Davies almost forgot to use it in the fucking script. And so the guy who spent ages trying to get the rights to the song spent God knows how much money to get this song, because it was a popular song in 2006 by Rogue Traders. Had to remind Russell T Davies, "Hey, you forgot to use the song you asked me to clear." How bizarre.
Yeah.
The entire
works really well,
inspiration
though.
of the Master's
Yeah.
drums, and he forgot to use it.
There's a lot of display, but it works really well for the scene, because it's that, like, it's a lighthearted song, like it's fun. It's got a high tempo, a nice beat to it. But then, like, the horror of the sky gets ripped open, and all of these Togglething come 6 billion of them come flooding down, while, like, the Master and his wife are just dancing. Like, it's brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic.
I do love the early shot in the song where it cuts to the TARDIS and you hear the sound of a steam going off in the TARDIS, and it is to the beat of the song. That's pretty fucking cool.
Also, like, sets a trend, I guess, of the Master liking pop music. Because obviously with Sacha Dhawan again, the Ra Ra Rasputin,
Yeah, and in the
that
next
incredible
episode,
scene.
he's listening to Scissor Sisters, which is
Yeah,
another great
yeah.
band. But speaking of the Valiant, this is the biggest set at the time of Doctor Who. This is the biggest set they've ever built, and it is a fucking great set. It looks fantastic. It's huge.
Yeah. They fit a lot
Whereas-
of people in it.
Yeah, and it needs to be big for reasons in the storyline. Whereas nowadays you have big sets like the Rani's Bone Temple, which is fucking massive, and they shoot like all the characters from a huge distance to show off the scale of the
Fucking
set.
Unit HQ.
Yeah,
is the
like-
same. Everyone just stands behind their desk at this massive fucking set,
Yeah, we don't. Like some sets don't need to be fucking big, which is why in the the War Between the Land and the Sea, where they do have unit scenes, where it's like a tight space and everybody's in the same room and they're just tightly compact in that space. It's a lot better for scenes because you don't have characters being drowned out by the set. You don't have a set chewing the actors in this instance.
Yeah, no, I agree. Fully, it's a problem of the new era of just the blocking is terrible.
Yes.
But Martha Jones grabs the vortex manipulator to run away because the Doctor and Captain Jack are like, you cannot help right now. Like you just have to get out of here because we've lost. Basically, it's a real Infinity War moment, you know, of everyone's died. Even the Master kills like a third of the planet.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Avengers ripped off series 3 of Doctor Who.
And also Children of
time.
Earth, where it's like 10% of the population of the children are being killed off. Like,
Yeah.
somebody was watching. This is, of course, the scene where the Doctor whispers something in Martha's ear, like the end of Lost in Translation, which we find out the meaning of in the next episode.
Yeah. And then we get the Master looking down on everything with the old man Doctor, and he's basically quoting, he's like acting a god, you know, as he said it earlier, when you watched the whole planet burn, you must have felt like a god, and now he's quoting, like, you know, and I looked down upon my creation and thought it good. And
Which is
our ending.
Which is interesting because Captain Jack, like, probably like 2 days before this, also, you know, the end of days in the season 1 final of Torchwood also met a mythical creature. He's inspired by Bible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Does the Master realize that if he was like a week ago there was a giant god trying to kill everybody, and now he's doing it, you know, like
weird.
Yeah, ridiculous. But that is the end of this episode, an episode that I think holds up really, really well. It plot-wise, not a lot goes on it, but it's more of that character study of who the Master is and what the Master's plan is. That's more interesting. The Doctor's plan makes no fucking sense in this episode because there isn't really one. They're just kind of walking about trying to figure stuff out. But I think the performances, the camera work, the lighting, the music, like everything is firing on all cylinders. This is superb TV.
Yeah, I agree with you. It does show some of Russell T Davies's flaws in terms of plotting. Like, the plot doesn't make fucking sense, but he's able to fucking write excellent characters. The scene alone with the Doctor and the Master on the phone builds like a solid foundation of their relationship, and it grounds the story in terms of, you know, it feels emotional. It has emotional stakes to it. Whereas nowadays it's just big bombastic stuff for the sake of big bombastic stuff. Like the scene where, you know, the Doctor and the Rani first meet. There's nothing to these characters. There's no history to these characters. In fact, the Rani is just talking about how they used to be lovers, but also she's like, but maybe that's fiction. There's no foundation to these characters anymore. Whereas here, you're borrowing elements from the classic series and building upon that. Like the Master and the Doctor were always school buddies. Build on upon that, and it feels personal. It feels real. It feels earned. But but this episode is really well paced as well. It is. Like, it flies by.
Yeah.
It's perfect pacing. Excellent stuff. I'm looking forward to next week, although I think next week is the worst part of this trilogy.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it, though. We'll see.
I'm looking forward to seeing little old Goblin Doctor. It's going to be a fun time. But yeah, we will be back with the last of the Time Lords in the next couple weeks. Keep an eye out. I would say that a date for it, but at this point, who fucking knows? It'll be out when it's out. So make sure you subscribe here at Who Watches Who on YouTube, on Spotify, on Amazon Music, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts or watch your podcasts. We are available. Your support is greatly appreciated and muchly liked. And I don't have anything else to add, I don't think. Do you?
No.
Is that it in the end?
We're
the end?
good.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. The end.
Bye-bye.